Welcome to Block and Wealth. This is the show where we take your most important sources, your notes, your research, and really distill them down.
That's right. We aim to get you those crucial insights you need to be truly well-informed, but, without all the overwhelm. Today, we are diving deep into something truly fascinating, often invisible, yet incredibly powerful. The hidden psychology of influence. Prepare to see human decision-making in a whole new way.
That's absolutely right. Our mission here is really to pull back the curtain. We want to look at the subtle but immensely powerful forces that shape our decisions. Every single day.
Every day.
Constantly. We're going to explore those secret triggers that make people say yes. We'll reveal how you are influenced, often without realizing it.
And the goal isn't to make you feel manipulated, right?
Not at all. The goal is empowerment. Understanding these forces is empowering. You'll start seeing communication, persuasion, even your own behavior differently. It gives you awareness.
Okay, let's unpack this. Right from the start, most of us hold this belief, don't we, that we're rational creatures.
We like to think so.
We weigh the pros and cons, make logical choices, act on clear, conscious thought. We value our autonomy, our free will.
Of course.
But what if that core assumption is, well, mostly wrong? The sources we've gathered today suggest something powerful, maybe even a bit unsettling at first.
Which is?
Influence isn't just an occasional thing. It's happening to you, to all of us, constantly, whether we recognize it or not.
In every interaction.
Every ad you see, every conversation, even choices that feel entirely independent, they're all subtly shaped by forces operating beneath our conscious awareness.
It's like an invisible current. Quiet, but undeniably strong. Our sources talk about how it makes people instinctively listen, trust, even follow.
So where is this happening if it's subconscious?
Well, what's truly fascinating here, and this is a core insight from cognitive science, is that the real puppeteer, the one pulling the strings behind the scenes, it's our subconscious mind.
The subconscious.
Exactly. Neuroscientists, psychologists, they estimate that over 90% of our cognitive processing actually happens subconsciously.
Over 90%. That's staggering.
It is. Think about it. The vast majority of our decisions, our thoughts, our immediate reactions, they happen beneath the surface. We often act without fully understanding why we felt a certain way or made a choice.
Is the brain just lazy then?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Far from it. It's incredibly efficient, built for survival in a complex world. It's fundamentally a pattern recognition machine, constantly processing a huge amount of information.
Okay.
To manage all that, it relies heavily on what psychologists call heuristics.
Heuristics, mental shortcuts.
Precisely. Automatic, intuitive rules of thumb. They let us make quick decisions without using up too much mental energy. Frees up the conscious mind for the heavier lifting.
So these shortcuts, while efficient, they also make us suggestible, almost by default.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
They make us susceptible. It's like your brain is always listening, absorbing, reacting, even when your conscious self thinks it's firmly in charge.
Can you give an example of that?
Absolutely. Consider the classic priming studies. They illustrate this so vividly. In one well-known experiment, participants were subtly exposed to words related to old age. Words like gray, wrinkle, bingo, retirement. It was part of a task that seemed unrelated.
Okay.
Later, when they left the experiment, they unconsciously walked significantly more slowly down the hallway than a control group.
Just from seeing those words.
Just from seeing those words. They had absolutely no conscious idea they'd been influenced. Their subconscious was primed with the concept of age, and their behavior just followed suit.
Wow. That's subtle.
It is. And this isn't just a lab curiosity. We see it constantly in the real world. Marketing is a masterclass in leveraging these subconscious triggers.
Like red sales signs.
Exactly, that bright red sale sign. It instantly triggers a sense of urgency, maybe excitement, even before you consciously process the word sale. Red is often a primal signal, demanding attention.
And repetition. Brand logos, jingles.
It's not just about memory. It's about building subconscious familiarity. That breeds preference. Your subconscious encounters that familiar logo or sound, processes it instantly, and evokes a pre-programmed feeling. It can nudge you toward buying long before your conscious mind weighs the features or price.
The subconscious is always working, filtering, associating.
Always. And this rapid, often unconscious processing, it often leads to what we call cognitive biases.
Biases, systematic errors in thinking.
That's right. They consistently affect our judgments and decisions. Now, it's not that we're inherently flawed. These biases actually evolved as survival tools, helping early humans make quick, often life-saving calls in uncertain situations.
But in the modern world,
In the modern world, these same shortcuts can lead us astray. They make us vulnerable to persuasion, even manipulation if we're not aware.
Okay, what's a common one?
One of the most pervasive is confirmation bias.
Right. We look for evidence that supports what we already think.
Precisely. It's our deep tendency to seek out, interpret, and favor information that confirms our existing beliefs. And we simultaneously downplay or ignore contradictory evidence.
It's why political debates rarely change minds.
Exactly. People aren't just listening, they're filtering, hearing mostly what reinforces their view. A skilled influencer knows this. They don't try a head-on conversion.
What do they do instead?
They frame arguments to subtly align with your existing views. It feels seamless, like you thought of it yourself, or they're just saying what you already felt. It reinforces that echo chamber, not just online, but in our own heads.
Making us resistant to new information.
Very resistant, especially if it's unsettling.
Okay, what's another bias we should know about?
Well, closely related to how we process information is the anchoring effect.
Anchoring.
This is powerful. It's where we rely too heavily on the very first piece of information we receive. That initial info, the anchor, it disproportionately influences all subsequent judgments, even if it's irrelevant.
Give me an example.
Okay, imagine shopping for a luxury watch. The first one you see is stunning, but it's $10,000. Way out of budget.
Right.
Then, the salesperson shows you another beautiful watch. This one is $2,500.
Seems like a bargain suddenly.
Exactly. Even though $2,500 is still a lot of money, that initial $10,000 anchor has completely skewed your perception of value. Everything that comes after is compared to that first number.
I can see how that works in negotiations too, like salary talks.
Absolutely. The first offer sets the bar. It happens in real estate with listing prices, even in courtrooms with damage requests. Once that anchor is set, it's incredibly hard to consciously adjust away from it. Your subconscious has already made a judgment.
That feels almost unfair because it seems so rational in the moment.
It does. And another fascinating one, equally powerful, is the mere exposure effect.
Mere exposure, just seeing something often.
Yes. The idea is that familiarity breeds trust and liking and preference. The more we're exposed to something, a person, a product, an idea, the more we tend to like and trust it, even if we don't consciously remember seeing it before.
That's why politicians plaster their names everywhere. And brands repeat logos constantly.
Precisely. It's not always about new information. It's about building that subconscious familiarity.
Javier?
Over time, your subconscious starts linking familiarity with credibility, safety, comfort. It makes you more likely to trust it, gravitate towards it when you need to make a choice.
Background music in shops, product placement. It's all tapping into this.
Often, yes. Deliberate attempts to leverage mere exposure, making you feel a positive connection, maybe without you even noticing consciously.
So subconscious processing, biases, familiarity, how does emotion fit into this?
Emotion is huge. If we connect all these pieces, it leads directly to the profound role of emotion in decision-making. Often overlooked, but critical.
We think we're logical, but really.
Research consistently shows emotions drive most of our decisions, and they do it incredibly fast. The brain processes emotions much quicker than rational thought.
So we feel before we think.
Often, yes. It's the emotional first process. Think about buying an expensive car. Is it purely about transport, fuel efficiency, safety?
Sometimes, but often it's about status, the feeling, the image.
Exactly, the emotional satisfaction. Your brain processes that emotional pull, that gut feeling, long before you start building logical justifications for the purchase.
That really reminds me of Daniel Kahneman's work, System 1 and System 2 thinking.
Precisely. It lays out this dynamic beautifully. System 1 is our fast, intuitive, automatic thinking.
Effortless, snap judgments based on instinct, emotion, past experience.
Right. Recognizing a face instantly, knowing 2 + 2 = 4, reacting emotionally, that's System 1.
And System 2?
System 2 is slow, deliberate, logical. It requires real mental effort, weighing pros and cons, analyzing complex data, critical thinking.
Like solving a hard math problem or planning a detailed strategy.
Yes. And System 1, that's the system advertisers, politicians, savvy influencers primarily target.
Why?
Because it's easily swayed by emotion, by social proof, by all those subconscious cues we've discussed.
And System 2 is lazy.
Yeah, Kahneman famously called it lazy. It takes effort, so it doesn't engage unless absolutely necessary. It consumes cognitive resources. We think we use System 2 most of the time.
But really, System 1 is running the show much more often.
Far more often. Making countless micro-decisions, shaping perceptions before System 2 even gets a word in.
That's why simple, emotional slogans work in politics. Or ads focus on feelings over facts.
Exactly. If you can effectively engage and influence System 1, you can subtly shape decisions, guide thoughts without people feeling pressured, sometimes without them even realizing.
Which raises a big question. Once we understand this psychology, how do we apply it? How do we guide thoughts effectively, but without being coercive or manipulative?
And that is the perfect bridge. Knowing how our minds work, how they react, that's the foundation.
Right.
Now let's transition from the mind's mechanics to the specific techniques that leverage these insights.
And for that, we look to Dr. Robert Cialdini.
Indeed. His foundational work is incredible. A leading psychologist in persuasion. Decades of rigorous research led him to identify 6 universal principles of influence,
Universal principles. They work across cultures.
consistently effective across cultures and contexts.
Yeah.
And mastering these principles, our sources say it provides a real, perhaps even unfair, advantage in persuasion. If applied correctly, of course.
Ethically.
Ethically. It allows you to shape behavior almost effortlessly.
Okay, let's hear them. What's the first principle?
The first, and maybe the most intuitive, is reciprocity, the power of obligation.
Giving back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Humans are wired to repay favors in kindness. It's not just social grace, it's deep evolutionary wiring. Early societies depended on mutual cooperation. Returning favors was vital for survival.
So if someone gives us something,
A gift, information, an act of kindness, we feel a strong psychological pull to return the favor.
like charities sending address labels with donation requests.
Precisely. It triggers that obligation. Businesses offering free samples, free consultations, valuable advice before a sales pitch, it all taps into reciprocity.
Once you accept the gift.
You feel an unspoken, often subconscious, need to reciprocate. It increases the chance you'll comply with what comes next. The key is to give first and make that gift feel genuine, personal, valuable.
Makes perfect sense. You feel that tug, that slight indebtedness. Okay, what's next?
Next up, equally powerful, commitment and consistency, the power of identity.
Consistency. We like to stick to our guns.
We have a strong psychological need to remain consistent with commitments we've made, especially public ones. Inconsistency feels like weakness, indecisiveness, even untrustworthiness. Our self-image is tied to being consistent.
So how does this work in influence?
By getting someone to agree to a small, low-risk commitment first, that significantly increases the chance they'll agree to larger commitments later.
Like free trials, introductory offers.
Exactly. Once customers identify as users, even trial users, they're more likely to continue, to stay consistent with that self-perception.
And it connects to self-image.
Directly. If you can align your request with someone's existing or desired self-image, framing it so a generous person helps others, or a smart consumer makes this choice, they're much more likely to comply.
Can you give an example study?
Of course. The classic is the foot-in-the-door technique.
Ah, yes. The small request first.
Right. In a 1960s study, researchers asked homeowners for a tiny commitment: display a small, unobtrusive sticker supporting safe driving. Minimal request.
Easy to say yes to.
Very. Weeks later, they went back to those same homeowners. This time, they asked for a much larger, quite intrusive sign promoting safe driving to be placed in their front yards.
And the results?
Those who had agreed to the small sticker first, astonishingly more likely to consent to the huge sign later.
Wow. Why?
Their initial small commitment subtly reshaped their identity. They started seeing themselves as supporters of the cause. That new self-perception then compelled them to act consistently when the bigger request came.
So commitment can reshape identity, like signing up for a marathon makes you feel like a runner.
Precisely. And that identity then drives consistent training behavior. The commitment creates the identity drives the action.
That's fascinating. But is there a risk here? Being too consistent? Sometimes changing your mind is the right thing.
That's an excellent point, a crucial one. Consistency is powerful, but it can be a double-edged sword.
So how do we balance it?
Conscious awareness is key. Understand the principle. Then pause and ask yourself, am I doing this because it's truly the best path now, or just to be consistent with a past commitment that might not serve me anymore?
So check if someone's leveraging my own desire for consistency against me.
Exactly. In negotiations, agreeing to small points might build psychological pressure for larger concessions later. The goal isn't inconsistency, but ensuring your commitments align with your current values and goals, and having the flexibility to reassess.
Intentional consistency with your current self.
Got it.
Okay, principle number 3.
Number 3 is social proof, the power of the crowd.
We look to others to see what to do.
Fundamentally, we're social creatures. We inherently look to others for guidance, especially when things are uncertain. If lots of people believe something or do something, we tend to assume it's correct, or at least acceptable.
Online reviews, testimonials, follower counts.
Huge impact. A packed restaurant feels like a good restaurant, even before you taste the food. The crowd is the proof. It's a mental shortcut. Avoid uncertainty. Make socially acceptable choices.
Are there different kinds of social proof?
Yes, it takes many forms. There's expert social proof. Doctors, scientists, TED speakers. Their endorsement signals, authority, trustworthiness.
Makes sense.
Then celebrity social proof. Using the status of famous people. If they use it, it must be desirable.
Right.
User social proof is huge now. Customer testimonials, ratings, reviews. Feels authentic coming from real users.
Very powerful.
Crowd social proof emphasizes numbers. Millions served, thousands of downloads, high sales rank. And finally, situational social proof. In moments of uncertainty or crisis, people just copy what others around them are doing, assuming they know better, like looking up if others look up, or joining the longest line.
Assuming it's the right one.
Right. But we have to mention the dark side here.
Okay.
Social proofs can lead to things like the bystander effect. No one acts in an emergency because everyone else isn't acting. Or groupthink, where critical thinking gets suppressed for conformity.
Like in Solomon Asch's conformity studies.
Exactly. People ignored obvious facts to go along with the group. It shows how easily mass behavior can lead to irrationality or spread misinformation online.
That's sobering. Okay, you said the next two principles often combine triggers for even greater impact.
Yes. Here's where it gets really interesting. First, scarcity and urgency. The fear of missing out. FOMO.
Limited supply makes things more desirable.
Instantly. The perception that something is limited or rare increases its perceived value. We value things more if they're harder to get. Add urgency, a time limit, and it's incredibly compelling.
Limited time offer, only a few left. Flash sales, countdown timers.
All tapping into our inherent loss aversion. The pain of losing something feels stronger than the pleasure of gaining something similar. We're highly motivated to act to avoid missing out.
It's not just about acquisition, it's about avoiding loss.
Primarily. And there's another layer. Reactance theory.
Reactance.
It's a psychological principle. People rebel when their freedoms feel threatened. When something is restricted, when our freedom to choose or get it is limited, it becomes instantly more appealing.
Like the toy you couldn't have as a kid becomes the most wanted thing.
Exactly. That restriction makes it seem more exclusive, more valuable. And social media amplifies FOMO massively today. Seeing others get something exclusive magnifies urgency and potential regret.
And marketers combine scarcity with social proof.
Oh, yes. Only 3 left. 15 people are looking at this right now. It creates almost unbearable psychological pressure, sometimes even a physical reaction like a faster heart rate, a low-level fight or flight.
Wow. Okay, what's the final universal principle?
The final one is authority, the power of expertise.
We trust experts, or people who seem like experts.
We're far more likely to be persuaded by those we perceive as credible experts or legitimate authority figures. It's often a mental shortcut. We assume those with credentials, experience, or status has superior knowledge, making their advice reliable.
The classic example being Milgram's experiments.
Yes, the obedience experiments.
Yeah.
Unsettling, but powerful. Participants gave what they thought were severe shocks just because a scientist in a lab coat told them to. The symbols of authority, the coat, the setting, the confidence were enough to override personal ethics for many.
So credentials, uniforms, titles, they all boost persuasive power.
Dramatically. Even subtle cues matter. A tailored suit, a tidy office, using precise, confident language, technical jargon. It all increases perceived authority.
The voice of authority. Certainty equals expertise in our minds.
Often, yes. Even if the information isn't fully accurate. A confident speaker often gains more trust than one who presents nuance, even if the nuanced one is more correct.
And this gets reinforced by social proof, too. Endorsements from respected figures.
Absolutely, they're authority transfers. Ultimately, confidence, assertive language, clear signals of expertise make people instinctively defer.
But this raises a question, doesn't it? How do we tell true authority from just perceived authority? How do we avoid being swayed by someone who just acts the part?
That is the critical distinction. It's a real challenge, because System 1 often jumps to conclusions based on those surface cues.
So how do we engage System 2, especially when someone projects authority so convincingly?
The key is conscious effort. Look beyond the superficial markers. Don't just see the lab coat or hear the confident tone. Ask, What are their actual credentials, their verifiable track record? Are they offering evidence or just assertions?
Are they open to questions?
Exactly. True authority often welcomes scrutiny. Perceived-only authority might deflect. Also, consider if their authority is actually relevant to the topic at hand. A celebrity's acting authority doesn't make them a financial expert.
So seek substantiation, question assumptions, engage system 2.
That's the way to make more informed judgments, rather than just deferring.
This brings us deeper still to the idea that reality itself is often constructed, not just passively absorbed.
Yes. The old saying, perception is reality, is profoundly true here. It's not about objective facts existing alone. It's about our interpretation of those facts.
We all have mental filters, from upbringing, culture, experiences, biases.
Absolutely. They determine what we notice, what we ignore, how we interpret things. Think about getting a delayed text from a friend.
Okay.
If you have past trust issues, you might see it as disrespect, dishonesty. Someone else, maybe with a more secure background, might just assume the friend is busy. No big deal.
Same event, totally different perception based on the filter.
Exactly. The meaning ascribed to it differs dramatically. It's about what it means to you, not just what it is.
And this connects to the idea of framing.
Perfectly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it explains why framing is often seen as the ultimate art of controlling perception.
How so?
Framing is how information is presented, the context it's placed in. This profoundly affects how it's perceived and interpreted. The same objective situation can look positive, negative, or neutral, all depending on the frame.
Like the medical treatment example, 90% survival rate versus 10% fatality rate.
Precisely. Identical information, totally different emotional impact. One frame evokes optimism, the other evokes fear. And your decision often follows your emotional response, which is shaped by the frame.
And this happens everywhere, not just in medicine.
Constantly. Politicians frame policies carefully. Tax relief sounds different from tax cuts for the wealthy, even if the policy is the same. The frame shapes public opinion.
Companies reframing downturns as restructuring opportunities.
Exactly. Not losses or crises, but strategic adjustments. The underlying reality hasn't changed, but the perception has. And perception drives response panic or patience. Effective framing determines how people react.
Are there specific framing techniques?
Yes. One powerful one is contrast framing. Our brains naturally compare things. We rarely evaluate in isolation. A restaurant menu might list a ridiculously expensive bottle of wine, maybe thousands of dollars. They don't expect to sell many.
So why list it?
It serves as an anchor. It makes the next most expensive wine, say $200, seem much more reasonable, maybe even good value by comparison. The extreme option frames the others.
And in politics, negative framing.
Yes, making the opponent seem not just less ideal, but like a catastrophic alternative. Contrasting your candidate against that negative frame elevates your own.
And what about the halo effect? How does that fit with perception?
The halo effect is another key cognitive bias affecting perception. One positive trait like attractiveness or confidence casts a halo, making us unconsciously assume other unrelated positive qualities.
So an attractive person might be assumed to be more intelligent or kind.
Often, yes, without any evidence. A job candidate who presents well in an interview might be assumed competent and reliable even before qualifications are checked. That initial positive halo influences overall judgment.
Can this be engineered?
Absolutely, often subconsciously, but it can be conscious too. Cultivating initial impressions that signal authority, credibility, confidence, grooming, posture, clear speech can create that halo.
And language itself plays a role. The language of influence.
Crucial. It's not just what you say, but how. Words carry emotional weight, associations, implications. Tax relief implies taxes are a burden needing relief. Tax cut is more neutral. Different frames, priming different reactions.
Is there a positive application of framing, like dealing with setbacks?
Yes, definitely. Reframing adversity. This is the art of turning a perceived weakness or negative situation into a strength or advantage.
How does that work?
A politician in a scandal might reframe it as a moment of profound growth, emphasizing lessons learned. A job candidate lacking direct experience might frame it as bringing a fresh perspective or innovative thinking, not constrained by old ways.
Shifting focus from failure to progress, resilience.
Exactly. Shifting the audience's perception away from negativity toward future success. By choosing how to present even challenges, you alter how others see it, feel about it, react to it. Mastering framing, contrast, the halo effect, language, it gives profound control over outcomes. reshaping how others see reality, guiding their reactions, often without them realizing their reality was constructed.
Okay, we absolutely have to talk about the ethics here. This knowledge, these techniques, they are incredibly powerful.
They are.
And with great power comes great responsibility, right? History shows these techniques can be used unethically. Deceptive political ads, manipulative marketing, exploiting biases. The potential for misuse is obvious.
It is, and this is the crucial distinction.
Yeah.
Where integrity is paramount, influence at its core is a tool, like a knife or fire.
Can be used for good or harm.
Exactly. A knife can make a meal or cause injury. Fire can warm a home or destroy it. The same applies to psychological influence. The moral weight rests in your hands.
So our goal here isn't to teach manipulation.
Absolutely not. Our goal is empowerment, to help you recognize when these tactics are being used against you, so you can make informed choices, not fall victim to triggers.
And to use them ethically ourselves.
Yes. To equip you with skills to persuade, lead, communicate with integrity, confidence, authenticity, to achieve genuine win-win outcomes.
So manipulation versus true influence.
Manipulation is based on deception, control, often self-serving goals. True ethical influence is built on trust, respect, mutual alignment, seeking positive outcomes for everyone involved.
The best influencers lead, they don't force, they create value, build trust.
Precisely. They use persuasion to genuinely help, inform, create understanding, not exploit or control. That's the fundamental difference.
So the challenge to you, the listener,
Is use what you learn wisely. Become the kind of leader people respect and follow naturally, not fear. Use it to foster cooperation, build bridges, create win-win situations.
not to take advantage.
Never. When influence is used ethically, rooted in value and respect, it doesn't just help you reach goals. It improves relationships, fosters understanding, makes the world more collaborative. It builds lasting connections and drives positive change.
Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive into the hidden psychology of influence, let's reflect. How do these forces play out in your everyday life?
Think about it. How you consume news, react to ads, engage with social media. Are your perceptions being shaped without you noticing?
This deep dive gives you the tools, the ability to spot potential manipulation, and more importantly, make more informed, conscious choices.
Which raises a final important question for you. Now that you understand these principles, how will you apply them with integrity?
To build stronger relationships, communicate more effectively, achieve your goals respectfully.
The idea isn't manipulation. It's becoming someone others naturally trust, respect, and choose to follow, because you lead with clarity and genuine value.
Knowledge alone isn't enough, though.
No, it's your willingness to apply it thoughtfully, to experiment responsibly, to step into a more aware, more empowered version of yourself. That's what creates lasting impact.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. It's been truly enlightening exploring this with you.
Indeed. And remember, the real question isn't if you're being influenced because you constantly are.
The real question is,
Do you know how you're being influenced? And crucially, how can you choose to influence back, ethically and effectively? How will you use this profound power?
until next time, keep digging, keep questioning, and keep growing.